Bangladesh has declared 3 days of mourning after the death of its first female Prime Minister, Khaleda Zia. Known to her supporters as the mother of democracy, Zia was a constant in Bangladesh's political landscape for more than 4 decades. She's remembered for fighting back against military dictatorship and her rivalry with former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina.
Bereft with the passing of their political hero and parental figure, Khaleda Zia. Mourners braved the rain and cold to gather outside the Dhaka hospital where her body lay.
We fought on the streets for our mother, Zia. She is like a political guide to us. She has been our guardian.
This is a great loss for the country and the nation.
Khaleda Zia was a giant of the Bangladeshi political landscape. She rose to prominence after the assassination of her husband, the then president of Bangladesh. Zia carried the mantle of the Democratic Bangladesh Nationalist Party he created and vocally opposed the ruling military dictatorship. After its collapse, she became Bangladesh's first female prime minister in 1991, followed by a second term in 2001.
The mother of our democracy, our guardian, our national guardian, has left us and passed away. This grief, this loss is irreparable, one that this nation will never be able to make up for.
Zia's long-standing and bitter political rivalry with former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina defined her political career. While in opposition, she was subject to multiple corruption charges, house arrest, and even served prison time. But after student-led protests ousted Hasina last year, Zia, despite her deteriorating health, announced she would return to the campaign trail in the upcoming election.
Let's bring in David Bergman here. He's an investigative journalist and he joins us from Dhaka. David, how do you think Khaleda Zia will be remembered in Bangladesh?
I think, first of all, she'll be remembered as being part of the political alliance that overthrew General Ershad, who was in power in the 1980s. And with the alliance with the BNP and the Awami League and other parties, brought in the democracy that we started in 1991. Then for winning that first election, which was a surprise, the Awami League under Sheikh Hasina was expected to win it, but Khaleda Zia and the BNP won it in an alliance together with the Jamaat-e-Islami. And subsequently winning a second term. And then obviously her rivalry with Sheikh Hasina, I think that has been crucial. The rivalry between her, the wife of Zia Rahman, the political leader that was in power in the late 1970s, and Sheikh Hasina, the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who was the country's independence leader. That rivalry is obviously crucial to the way that she'll be perceived.
Now, Zia was praised for restoring democracy and advancing women's rights, but her time in office was also overshadowed by corruption allegations. Can you tell us more about that?
In the second time she was in power in 2001 to 2006, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party was certainly seen as a power that allowed corruption to really increase. But she was never very significantly linked to that corruption. It was much more her son, Tariq Rahman, her son who is now the leader of the BNP, who was perceived to be the person who was linked to that corruption, him and individuals who were associated with him. Khaleda Zia was convicted on a corruption charge and she did go to jail under the Awami League regime. But that case was pretty weak and flimsy, and there's never been found significant assets linked to Khaleda Zia. So I don't think corruption is really an issue that is going to be significantly linked to her legacy.
Now, elections in Bangladesh are expected in February. Zia's party, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, is seen as a front-runner. How much influence did Zia still wield in the party in recent years?
I mean, she had, as I understand it, diminishing influence within the Bangladesh Nationalist Party as her ill health decreased. However, she did continue to play a role. I mean, her son, Tariq Rahman, who was in exile in the UK, increasingly played a role. And there was, of course, Fakul Alamgir, who remained in Dhaka, who effectively took her place. Since July, and the political changes that took place in July 2024, another leader, Salahuddin Ahmed, also became very prominent within the BNP. So although she was certainly a figurehead of the party and would almost certainly have won the multiple seats that she would have sat in, I don't think it could be said that she was intrinsic to where the BNP was going. That was much more in the younger generation, or at least the generation, the older generation that remained alive.
You've mentioned her son, Tariq Rahman. Many believe that he could become Bangladesh's next leader. To what degree would you say his political views, his popularity have been shaped by his mother? Briefly, if you can, David.
I think it's very unclear what Tariq Rahman really stands for. He's been over a decade, over 15 years he's been in the UK. And it's uncertain exactly what kind of leader he will be for the BNP. But clearly he has a huge challenge ahead of him to bring the BNP together, to make it a unified force, and of course to take on the Jamaat-e-Islami, which is increasingly a resurgent political force in Bangladesh.
David, thank you very much. That was investigative journalist David Bergman.